Shoot. Okay. Yeah, space was glitching out on me. Sorry. I'll try to. I don't know if people are still interested. We'll see. But I'll try to get that going up again real quick. Try to get everybody back up here as best we can. It crashed out on me though. Yeah, I don't know. Like, dude, you run these spaces for too long, and like they just get really glitchy for some reason. I don't know what it is. So, but I'll try to get other people back up here. We'll try to reconvene where we were at. Sorry, apologies. Um, yeah, hopefully we can get it back up though. Real quick too, while we're doing that, $15 from several monkeys. Appreciate that. He said, bottom up has to wait for top down support. Example, Elon empowered crypto Jews and now run Trump admin. As simple as that, both are necessary. I disagree. I don't know. I didn't even really pay attention, but appreciate that though. Thank you. All right, we got Paul Town back. We got Jimbo back.
Christian Bushnell in here.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear Christian Bushnell. I feel like I've heard the name, but I think I might be thinking of Aaron Bushnell.
Oh, true. Yeah. Forgot about him. Or what's it? I think Bushnell was the name of the guy that invented Atari as well. So
rest in peace to Aaron Bushnell.
That Australian third rail was too hot. They shut down Beardson. Glad you're back.
True. Yeah. No, I got a phone call and it like glitched everything out. Then I went to speak and it crashed.
Shut it down, huh?
Yeah. Oy vey. Triple.
Shut it down.
They shut it down. But no.
True.
Appreciate you guys coming in, dude. Honestly, I didn't even mean to. I didn't mean to start this whole thing. I'm just like fucking bored.
We started a movement.
Yeah,
this is a good space. I feel like we're getting some productive discussion done. I'm trying to be very mature.
Yeah,
trying to
lots of progress for the white race.
Honestly, you should have been here earlier because we, like me and Jimbo and Tyler, we were actually doing pretty good. And then you sort of, I don't know, argue with these people long enough, and I lost my patience a little bit. So I'm glad you're here as the voice of reason yet again.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nice thing is I think I'm more like the third rail, the third position, the third way.
For sure.
Whereas, some of you guys are far as one direction, far the other.
I'm the fourth rail, as in I'm just here for content, really. But
that's smart. That makes sense. You're getting some super chats.
Yeah. We made like $150 today, so
you're getting paid.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't even have to stream, honestly.
You always get paid.
Yeah, always find a way. But we got Mr. Dr. Davinsky back up here. Sorry about the space crashing earlier. So yeah,
I thought I was kicked for being a quarter Jewish.
No. I got a phone call and it like fucked up everything. You know how spaces are.
Yeah, because a lot of Groypers, they won't even accept me, even though under Nuremberg laws, I'd be a Michelin of the third degree, full rights. So I hope that's enough to clear the Groyper space threshold.
No, I mean, I don't accept you, but I'm willing to talk to you, though. I'll be nice, To
be honest, I don't really care too much. I'm not all about that. I'm kind of a libtard in a lot of ways. I'm pretty open-minded.
Yeah, you hang out with trannies and shit.
Well, yeah, dude. I hang out with everybody. I hang out with everybody. Black people, trans people.
Yeah, I mean,
I go to the Groyper meetups. I go to the Sovereign House meetups. So I'm around every type of person except for white people, apparently.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I'm not even an old head in the scene. I'm just an old head in general. So when I hear people not getting it and saying, it's just you're too young, it drives me nuts.
So what I was saying before the space crashed is that you can spread kind of white advocacy and demographic concerns, immigration concerns, without making it like a hatred for another group of people. And that's the problem I have with someone like the Handsome Truth or someone like Nick. Nick is serious at times, but it's kind of like throwing stones from a glass house when he's condemning the Handsome Truth for his rhetoric. It's not like Nick is some polished kind of person. If you can read his ADL articles, like, he was banned from Twitter. It was a huge hoo-ha when he was invited back by Elon. So, like, it's kind of, I don't know, in some sense it's hypocritical for someone like Nick, who's also been behind, the Capitol riots, on a megaphone saying, go into the Capitol, ignore the barriers, ignore the police. And a few of his Groypers are still in federal prison because of that, and he threw them under the bus. So he's not some polished kind of...
I wouldn't say so. He was pretty far out from that, and people were doing it anyway.
Yeah, and the people that went to jail are literally people that betrayed him and stabbed him in the back.
Well, that doesn't. I don't know how much of that is.
No, they deserve it.
Well, Beardson's gonna take a different stance. I think that there's some context to that You know,
they're not. They weren't Groypers. Is basically what I'm saying.
Is this a double cup of lean?
Yo, big Beardson, dude. As you can tell by my profile picture, I'm a Indian with a dharmic symbol on my forehead, so you can tell I'm a big Groyper. My question for you, man, is like, are there any Groypers that are white? Like, are there any Groypers that are white / American citizens / like not fucking divorced by their fucking Jewish fat bitch wife or like arsons?
No, hey boss man, I have a question. Do you like Vivek or Vance better?
Honestly, like I like white people and like white power and Trump.
Fair enough. I thought you were Indian, so I wasn't sure if you're gonna choose a guy with Indian wife or the
I like
Indian
fucking. I'm actually I'm a Wignat. I like fucking white power in America, not fucking being a larpy fucking fat nigger. But
that's fair. That's
kind of my
high level stuff. High level stuff right there.
No, you're swaying me. Yeah, your hearts and minds, dude.
Yeah, fucking bunch of fat niggers.
True. Anyways, going back to what Davinsky was saying, though, I think there's like a big difference between like what Nick's had to say about Handsome Truth and what like Handsome Truth's actions versus like what the ADL says about Nick. I mean, I think you can probably draw a pretty clear distinction between like going out with a megaphone and yelling at people and just being like, I don't know, kind of acting like a minority really versus like Nick running a show on the internet.
Yeah, but it's also from a public perspective I can understand, but also from a public perspective, who has more reach? So it doesn't matter if Nick's sitting in his house in Chicago, reaching tens of millions of people across the internet, hundreds of millions sometimes, or it's just a Handsome Truth on a freeway where it'll just be the local community that sees him. So in terms of like actual damage that's caused from this rhetoric, I'd say that Nick is more responsible. And it's usually his clickbaity clips that go viral anyway. So, Nick's, he's got some good analysis. I'm not going to discredit that. But what goes viral and what people see of him is him chimping out from time to time using slurs, kind of pandering, pseudoscience, race realism, these kind of things. So I don't know. I just don't think it's a serious person. He's an entertainer.
I mean,
but we do need a serious.
But when you talk about
Dr. Davinsky, why aren't here lying to these people, telling them you're not Jewish? You're clearly Jewish. You have a problem with HT and Nick because they have a problem with you. You are Jewish. You told me in this space the other day, every kids in Gaza should get bombed. Like you're Jewish. You're one of the crazy maniac Jewish supremacist guys. So tell these guys the truth, bro. Stop lying to them.
What do you mean? I'm Viva la Palestine. I've been boycotting Starbucks. What do you mean? I'm an ally.
Yeah, sure. You're being a deceitful, lying Jew again. And I call you Dr. Jewish for those reasons. What the fuck are you doing? Just tell them the truth. Tell them I'm Jewish, and that's why I'm slandering Nick and HT all the time.
No. I mean, look.
I'm not.
Me and Beardson have had an interaction before. So, I mean... I don't hide that I'm a quarter Jewish.
I called you Dr. Jew because your name is Davinsky. It's a Jewish name.
Well, you're an Arab.
You told me.
You're getting deported before me.
You said I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. How can you fucking make it clearer?
I mean, I don't want to get into this whole, like, name the nationality thing.
Okay, but who do you hate more, Jews or Arabs, Beardson?
I mean,
take a side.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Can I line the, like, is it one of those ones where it's like if you have one bullet or whatever and you're in a room...
Yes, now it is. Yeah.
Can I line them?
And you can't kill yourself.
Oh, damn. Well, can I line them up?
You've got to line it up to both of their heads.
Yeah.
Just do a double kill. Disavow.
Yeah, of course. No, I mean, but going back to what you were saying though about you say damaging rhetoric though, like this is which is like something I find interesting because that's obviously your perspective, but for us, like I don't think what Nick says is damaging. It's obviously damaging to your worldview. So, I mean, essentially, yeah, like Nick's more effective is the way that I would phrase it. Like, does that make sense? Whereas, like, I think somebody Handsome Truth is like just crass, and it's sort of like it's like a carny sideshow. And I just think that, like I said, if I were to design, I'm not going to call him a Fed or anything like that. I think that's like low IQ and weak. But if I was going to like create or boost the image of a person that I wanted to like discredit or damage people's like perception of like white identitarianism or like talks of like Jewish power, like I would design somebody like Handsome Truth, who I think's just like a very abrasive and rude and kind of a joke, you know. Not to bring him up or whatever, but just
But in some sense, you could say that Nick has subverted white nationalism by doing this whole Catholic club because, someone made a joke earlier, are there any white Groypers? And so you see every day online these Mexicans, these brown people that, have Catholic backgrounds and they've been brought into kind of American nationalism. So, he's kind of taken away the racial aspect to nationalism, but he still panders to white nationalists and white supremacists with some of his talking points, but he's made more of a universal kind of nationalism with the Catholics. So in some sense, he subverted it.
Again, totally disagree. It's like everybody wants to say this meme of like all the Groypers are brown, but again, every event that I've been to, and I've been to quite a few, it's all white dudes. Like, I mean, of course, there's going to be a couple like brown people, but it's like the way that you guys view race. I mean, maybe not you. I don't want to say you, but a lot of the Wignats view race and stuff is like very Puritarian, like that, like. The way that I see it, it's like obviously what Nick says is very pro-white and it's very pro-white demographics, but obviously that's going to appeal to minorities too because they want to live in a majority white area, and you're never going to have some sort of like ethno-nationalist worldview take hold. You're never going to, deport every single minority or African American or whatever from this country, and I think African Americans do in a very small way hold some sort of claim to the land here. They've been here the longest.
They hold more claim than Nick. Nick's Mexican. His family came over the other
He's
side. He's Italian.
82% white.
Like,
He's 82%
it
white.
doesn't
And you're
matter. He's a
Jewish.
white Teva. He's not the foundational stock of the country.
So
I don't
so
care
wait,
if
wait,
he's
so
white.
but this is what's funny. It's like we're
Black
supposed to
Americans
overlook.
have more claim than this Arab that's speaking to me, Neo.
Well, I mean, but like, well, then we can make the same argument about you though, because since you're a quarter Jewish, right?
I'm 3/4
No,
Celtic, so
he looks
three
brown. He's
quarters,
brown Jew.
brown. Look at my skin tone, bro. I'm as
You're
white
a
as
brown
Beardson.
Jew.
Beardson's like the only like real white grouper that I've actually seen. There's all these like suave kind of mixed mutts down from Southern Europe with Mexican.
True.
It's
When he's right, he's right.
what's funny,
That's true.
is like we've gone away from kind of like academic
Half
people like
Japanese.
Richard Spencer or David Duke or who's that one that was raised in Japan?
Jared Taylor.
Jared Taylor. Like we've gone away from kind of Northern European, like logical kind of trains of thought to just shock bait with these fucking like spics like Handsome Truth and Nick Fuentes.
And what do you think that's
that are just
about? Why do you think it happened?
Maybe there's a bit more leeway. I don't know what it is. Nick can kind
You
of
think
pander
it's-
to his
you think
Mexican
it's-
side. When the police rocked up to his house, how can I be a white supremacist? I'm Mexican. My last name's
But
Fuentes. It
well,
gives
I'm
him a
just
bit of a
curious. Do you
shield.
think it's more like a mechanistic thing, like technology enables more swarthy people to be successful than like slower, speaking? Or do you think it's just in terms of standards dropping? What do you think it is? I'm just kind of curious.
I think it's more of the standards dropping and an appeal to kind of like a browner American. So I guess like someone like a Mexican could see Nick. He's kind of like a gateway to whiteness, where Richard Spencer, they don't have that same connection. So
He's a
in some
Stargate.
sense, yeah, he's kind of like he's like there's a gateway. Well, look at him. He's
the bridge.
yeah, the bridge for white nationalism or white supremacy.
Yeah, but this just seems kind of like a spiral, like a purity spiral. The point we were talking about earlier is Nick is effective and the Groypers are effective, and the way to gain power that is actually possible to be wielded. And I think saying it's subversion to bring in the Catholic thing is just missing the point. It's maybe inclusive, and you might not like that, but the country has already been infiltrated by foreign populations. So Catholicism will give you a mandate to get into power. And for the person before who said, well, Nick doesn't do anything, he has his show, that's all you guys have. The truth is, the whole point that's being made by people like Beardson, by people like myself, is that the effect that Nick's rhetoric and Nick's show has is that people are moving into positions of power quietly on their own dime, doing their own thing because they're graduated from college, they're getting money, they're getting into influential places, and they have the rhetoric in their mind that is moving forward this issue, so that when someone gets elected, they can actually affect the institutions without being roadblocked. And I think that's really
but
important.
the issue with Nick though is
well,
like,
and I'm half white.
the issue with Nick is that I've been following him since he was on JF Garrity. Like, I remember when he was like a kid with a green screen in the back of his,
Yeah, we got an old
and
head alert.
like when he rose up to kind of prominence, he threw every other white kind of advocate under the bus, like whether it was JF Garrity, Richard Spencer, Mike Enoch, any of these people, like he basically destroyed. So I don't know if he just wants to be a one-man show or what it is, but I mean, it's undeniable that he did throw a lot of these people that gave him a platform under the bus.
Dude, the guy is only like 25 or 26. Give him a chance. I mean, he's really on point for his age. And I think he's also circled back and has showed that he's not only capable of making allies, but being effective in his messaging. You know, even with, you know, you look at even something with Elon, he's able to be realistic and say, I'm going to be effective in my messaging without sacrificing my values of my message. I don't know how you don't see that. It's not a zero-sum game. Influence is about...
Mr. White, you're talking to him like he's gonna argue and have a dialogue in good faith, but he's not. He's never gonna like Nick because Nick opposes Jewish power, and it goes in direct contradiction with his beliefs. Because obviously the Dr. Jew is a Jew, and he's never gonna agree with you. When no matter how much you try to convince him, he's always gonna have hate in his heart for Nick because he's Jewish.
Yeah, but my point isn't to convince him.
Him up here and he's talking, he's taking up all the space. It's crazy to me. This guy has like 10 listeners on a daily.
I get more than that.
Remember, guys, it's not about convincing anyone. It's about the truth. And whether he agrees or not, it doesn't make it less true what I'm saying.
He came in
disagree.
Live. You asked him if he was Jewish, and he said no. From the get-go, there was no truth there. He's dysgenic. I've seen a photo of him. Like, the guy looks like a freak. He's got a large nose.
You sound like you speak English as a third language. Is this your first language?
Yeah, because I'm French,
What
nigga.
is like this heavy Arab accent?
I'm French, nigga. But
You're not
yes.
French.
He's French.
You're French Moroccan. Go back to Morocco. Go back to North Africa.
Ooh la la.
I just wanted to speak to say, Dr. Goldstein, I want you to take that fucking Shamrock out of your name. If you're like 75% Jewish or whatever, this is coming
No,
from
75% Irish.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Whiter than you, Mohammed.
No, you're not. I'm a ginger. I'm a real Celt. Take that Shamrock out of your name, Dr. Goldstein, please.
You guys know Mohammed was a ginger?
I'm gonna take
all of this just proves the point I was just making about Catholicism. We can infight amongst people who are not white enough or too white or whatever, but the point is you're never going to access the levers of power and be able to effectively wield them unless you have a movement that can gain that power. And you can't do it with all the Irish vote and some of the English vote. You know, like, I'm German American, but I understand that Mexican Catholics on the West Coast will put people in power because they're conservative. They've imported a bunch of Mexican Catholics that are not going to stay liberal. They're going to shift. We just saw it in the last election.
True. And remember, of course, support the space at PowerChatLive/BeardsonBeardly in Cash App. It's $, Beardson. If you have any messages or if you want to come up, hit that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in the whole race thing too much.
Yeah, I'm half white. I don't know what he's talking about. All the Groypers are brown. I'm half white.
You're half white and half what else?
Japanese.
Hang on, let's have a look at your face. Wow, you look mostly...
Joe
you don't
Mon.
look half Japanese. You look full white.
I'm Joman.
He's just...
You're Jimbo. You're not Joman.
You see that squint, though? Like,
I'm
you look in
Joman.
the eyes. That's where all the Japanese is.
From Hokkaido.
Yeah.
Have you...
Well,
have you been
the
to Mount
eyes and
Fuji?
something else a bit lower than the eyes is where the Japanese probably is.
Okay, but so would you take it back that we're mostly Mexican?
You're talking to 3 stone cold Aryans right now.
Exactly.
Well, I would say that Beardson looks a lot whiter than Handsome Truth. So does this half Japanese person for some reason.
Beardson Scots Irish. That's not really white.
Yeah,
Actually,
that doesn't count.
I'm more English than I am Scots Irish.
It's even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like full on Anglo basically.
This is my Aryan
But I
race
would say
stuff.
this,
We don't even have
David,
one
I
white
would say
person.
I get where you're coming from. I understand your frustrations or your your objections. But one thing I would also say is that the situation in Australia is different. I think like what Joel Davis is trying to do. I don't know if you're friends with Joel Davis or not. I think that has like an actual shot in Australia. I don't think that really can work in like Europe. I don't like mainland Europe. I don't think they can work in America, but I could see that working in Australia because Australia is kind of a crazy place. You know better than me. So I think you kind of have to curtail your critique.
Yeah.
The problem is
But
we
it-
have the internet, which is spread across all these different countries, where some strategies work and some don't.
Well, it doesn't have to be a crazy kind of movement either, though. That's what I'm saying. Is like, the best solution that I've seen come about was from Fraser Anning, where he wanted to do a national plebiscite, a referendum, and he wanted to ask every Australian, do we want more, less, or no immigrants? Obviously we don't want more immigrants. We probably would have said less immigrants. And then if we wanted less immigrants, which immigrant population should they come from? And just through sheer in-group bias, we would have selected Northern Europe. Like, 70% of Australia's Anglo-Celt. We're not going to be picking, let's get 1 million from India like we're getting at the moment. So that would have just been an a-racial conversation, a very sensible conversation to have. I've traveled the world now for 4 years, and I get into conversations with locals in these countries, and they think it's insane. My girlfriend's cousins came over to Bangkok. We're walking down central Bangkok, and they're like, "Oh, what's Sydney like?" And I'm like, "Well, it's like Bangkok, except there's more Asians in Sydney."
Mm-hmm.
So like people laugh at us, like people from the rest of the world, they understand, but like our demographics are a problem, and that's why they make these jokes. You get these kind of boisterous Indians online claiming that they're taking over the UK. Like they know in their hearts that like demographics do matter, and it's a sensible conversation that we need to have. But when we bring up these conversations with normies, now they get flashbacks to say some of Nick's rhetoric or the handsome truth, and immediately it's kind of labeled Nazism.
Yeah, but you can't unspill milk though. You can't uncrack an egg. So what do we do going forward? Like, what would you say going forward is the best idea? How to mitigate this? How to like that sort of thing.
Well, we need to just have like sensible politicians that toe the line and will advocate for us. Someone like say Jared Taylor would be a better alternative. Even someone like David Duke, like him joining the Klan was so bad that he could never recover from that. But someone like that, because if you listen to David Duke, like he doesn't come across as a hateful person, but everything that he says is just disqualified because he joined the Klan. So Nick's never going to be a serious person in the political world just because of all of the hours of kind of hateful rhetoric he's put out there. But
Yeah, but
someone who can,
this kind of sounds like when like you like one band, I like U2, you like Rolling Stones, and you're like, well, you should like the Rolling Stones because Bono is kind of lame, and it's like, well, I like U2. I like U2. I don't like the Rolling Stones, and so it's like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, ideally, we would have some perfect person, but you can't really convince people who like Nick to not like Nick. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. You're just going to be like tone deaf.
yeah.
The people who like him are just going to not.
I just want to
And like
say,
another problem with like the Groypers, with the whole kind of Christianity aspect, it's like in the Western world,
Of course,
a
you have
more
a problem
advanced
with Christianity.
society, you
You're
get
Jewish, man. I don't know why
the
you're
less
writing this crazy
religiosity
stuff.
you have, right? So,
It's crazy.
I don't think that this is going to really, I don't know, the whole like hiding everything behind like doctrines, religious doctrines that people are more and more less kind of connected to. I don't think that this is a good framework to kind of run a nation on.
Yeah, but I
Well,
mean,
And
I know what you're saying with that, but the thing is, I'm not Catholic, and WASPs who traditionally made up the country in America are not Catholic by and large. They're usually Protestant, WASP. But the Irish people, Italians, Mexicans, blacks, not really. Blacks are kind of doing their own thing, but those groups are all kind of the underclass, and they have a lot of people here, and they do like Catholicism. So I think that'll actually kind of grow. Like South America, like it or not, those are the immigrants coming in, and they are susceptible to Catholicism. So I actually think long term that's gonna, people appealing to Catholicism. You think about the cartels down south; they have their own like fake saints that are supposedly Catholic who are just like, oh, this saint I put in my driver's seat while I traffic weed and traffic drugs and fentanyl, because this is a Catholic saint that protects me from the police. So that's like the level. So kind of hiding behind the Catholicism, that sort of thing, I think actually is kind of a good strategy, because that taps into a lot of, just superstition.
Yeah, I mean,
around
the strategy.
I'd also like
just
to.
one last point.
I'd like
Oh,
to
sorry, go ahead.
just add this real quick too, though. It's like the other thing is too. It's like you have to understand for like a lot of us. I mean, maybe some of us. I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but like we're approaching Catholicism not from like a pragmatic way or like what can we get out of this or achieve from this politically. Like it is just like a sincerely like heartfelt belief. It's not something that we are like using to sort of like strategize to try to win political power with. It's that we are like incorporating our faith into our political playbook. Does that make sense?
Can I just add
Exactly,
one more thing,
Beardson.
and I'll stop
Exactly.
speaking for a while? So look, there is some utility in guys in somewhat of your bigotry behind religion, and that was kind of the Andrew Tate method. By converting to Islam, he got a whole new fan base, and some of his kind of rhetoric towards homosexuals or women was kind of behind this protected class now. So there is some strategic strategy, some strategic benefit to guys in, say, the deeper seated, which I would say were hateful and bigoted, but from a strategic point of view, if you want to be homophobic, you want to be, say, like anti-woman or
Transphobic,
whatever it
homophobic,
is,
whatever.
there's a utility behind there's a utility in hiding behind religion, because that is a protected class.
But Dr. Davinsky, you missed the point what Beardson's saying. We don't view Catholicism as a heuristic. It's not a screwdriver or a hammer. It is just true. You might not think it's effective, but it worked for over 2,000 years. And it's the one thing that kept the biggest opponent, right? People talk about Jewish power controlling America. It held that at bay and built the modern West. Okay, up until, for America, at least up until 1960s.
Adam Green would say otherwise.
I don't care what Adam Green says, because he's obsessed with the Jew.
I know. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, okay, yeah. My thing is, like, Catholicism for this movement, the reason it is beneficial to us is not because it's a good heuristic. Or a shield, right? It's not a sword or shield. It just is true. So that unifies people in a message that has worked for over 2,000 years. Okay, and if you want an enemy of the Jewish power, it's the Catholic Church. Make no mistake about it.
I just want to say, who else was
I
the
just
Hapa
don't
guy
know
here?
why
Was on quarter 8 Japanese as well.
Yeah, I don't know why we're
Konnichiwa.
entertaining this
Shut
Dr.
your
Jew guy.
dumb
'Cause
inbred Arab ass
the
up.
thing is, he's neither a Wignat or a Groyper. He's neither of
I'm a
those
white
two groups.
nationalist.
So I don't know why we're listening to him
I
over
mean, it's
here.
just
Like
I
he's
don't know.
just
I'm
taking up
just, dude.
space.
Honestly, I'm just snowed.
Kappa Master
I'm
Race.
just snowed in.
Get off my
Just, like,
dick, you Arab inbred fuck.
want to talk to people, make a little bit of money at powerchat.live/Beardson. We got Mio here. I just want to say real quick, Soldier, congratulations on taking over Politically Provoked now that Brittany is dead from the California wildfires, which was just tragic. So just
What happened to her, by the way?
she's dead. She got
Yeah, she
Other than
burned
being dead.
alive. She willingly walked into the oven. People thought that she'd never end up red pilled, but she did the most red pilled thing
it was
imaginable.
crazy. I thought I was gonna have to take her to the oven, but the oven came to her. So
Mm.
Oh, wasn't she like quarter Jewish or some shit too?
a
That way?
little bit more order.
Something like that.
Oof.
More like totally toasted.
Yeah. But yeah, what's up? What's up, Mia? How you doing?
Yeah, just a quick thought. I heard somebody, I just popped into this convo, but I heard somebody mention like religion, as people become more advanced, they grow away from religion, and I reject that categorically. I think like the way that things have advanced in this timeline, the way things have gone down, like, yeah, that was alongside the Enlightenment and all of that, but like science and engineering and mathematics and all of that started under religion in like major ways too as well. Like they had a lot of the stuff that we have these days. The average person at many times in history was more educated than the average person these days, so they're not like so smart, like, because we have iPhones and spaceships at NASA now, that they're just rejecting religion. And like, what is it? You can put it like Catholicism, like it's an ism, or religion, like it's the organized with the opiate of the masses or whatever. But it's just like everybody's got a worldview. Everybody fits into some philosophical box of how they think things through, how they process things, make their decisions, what that's based on. And and basing it on that, it's worked historically for a long time. It's not just a theory. It's not just an ethereal, this is my faith and whatever. Like, yeah, it's the correct way to look at the world, and you get better results when you have the correct worldview. You can predict the future when your worldview is correct. So
I mean, there's a strong negative correlation between religiosity and intelligence. Numerous meta-analyses have shown this. So, look, it may have worked at some point in time, but the whole idea of it, like, we're less educated than in the past. For most of human history, it was really just the clergy or the elites at the top that could read or write. We like to envision ourselves as, Julius Caesar or Henry VIII. We were really just like the plebs that were tending the gardens. So, no, like the average person today is most definitely.
even just not that long ago, the average college graduate, they spoke Greek, Latin, and Hebrew sometimes. So like it's like not that long ago, things were better. The average
Yeah, but
person
why is
was
that better?
way
I mean,
smarter than they
that's
are
a
now.
that's a skill that's kind of archaic now in terms of like translation. So yeah, I mean, with technology, certain skills that were previously
In
necessary.
translation, see, this is what I mean by you have like a Reddit worldview. Language conducts how you think. It conducts like what ties you pull together in your head, how your thoughts connect. Even how you think itself is determined by
Well, this
which
is a this
language
is an
you are
argument for
speaking.
DEI actually, like having
Bro,
diversity
come
in
on.
the
Just that.
workplace.
Wait.
No, it
You
is.
Hold
It
on.
sound
is
ridiculous,
because
doctor.
there is some truth, like the way that you do think in the language. So I was talking to a Russian linguist at a bar one night, and he said that he teaches. He taught in Bangkok University, and his idea was basically that if you have a Russian speaker or an English speaker, you'll come at a problem from different angles. So a Russian speaker, an engineer, may construct the building from the bottom up, where a Russian speaker might construct it from the top down. So having this kind of diversity in
Yeah,
thought.
something like that, based on how your language works, and based on how it's organized, the syntax of it, a lot of the generalities. There's so much about language. It determines how you think. It
Yeah, but
does, and
my point is that with technology, there's certain skills that become obsolete. So, like previously, map reading was a necessity, but now everyone has GPS
that's
on their
you're just
phone.
advocating
The
for an
same with
idiot
like kind
race
of
of.
like handwritten maths and being able to work out these
This
equations
is
on.
like Star Trek. You're like, wait, okay,
No,
we can
but
have Star
with
Trek and all
some,
be fat
but we
retards.
also learnt
It can
new
be
skills
Wally
though,
because at least
right?
the computer does all the thinking
No,
for
no,
you, and you're
we're
pretending
thinking
that's
in different
better.
ways though, right? So like certain skills we no longer need that gives us ability to go on to other skills that we utilize today.
We will no longer be able to repair the machines our ancestors built.
I mean,
That's what
that
you were
still doesn't
advocating
happen
for.
today. Like, there's code that basically there's no programmers to do that anymore. It was created in the '60s, and I mean, look, we lose information. I mean, that's just human history. But we also advance, and to say like we're less advanced today than any point in human history, it's just not
You
true.
can't knock out the foundation. You can't knock out the slats of advanced civilization and expect to keep moving forward. That's a retard worldview. That shows that you don't understand fundamentally why things are so nice right now. And you want to go
No,
away
I
from
mean,
that because, well,
say
we can just live in
if
Star Trek
if
world. We
if
can't.
we go back,
And that's why religion, it's
no,
better. If
no.
this worldview keeps the average person acting in their life, because that's what it takes is an individual acting according to the right principles instead of lazy retard science Reddit
No, I mean,
Star
what
Trek
you're saying is
principles,
retarded. Like
so that things get better and
as
better and then
civilizations
progress.
advance, skills that we needed previously no longer are needed. So, 10,000 years ago, there would have been people banging rocks together. And it's like, oh, and then, we invented the lighter. It's like, why don't we go back to banging rocks to get a spark?
Are
This
you are
is
you
that's
are you
so,
trying to say?
Dr. Davinsky. You sound ridiculous, man. You're looking at history in such a short scale. The speaker before you is making such a good point. All the things that you value today, even the colleges that give that knowledge are Catholic. They're built by that institution, and they're built off of that institution because the value of it is the hierarchy that is placed in that
Yeah, but
institution. There are
we
roles
could
that
have.
you have to fulfill. Hold on, man. Just relax. There are roles that need to be fulfilled, and that order is what gets people who might want to do something else again to fulfill their duty. We've moved away from the duty of man, and we continue to see the degradation of society because of it. A college graduate who's an architect or an engineer today is not on the level of what we would have seen 100 years ago, and even more so, they don't have implied duty to actually act in the good or for the good of the greater populace. That's why you see societies
I
failing.
just disagree. I disagree, though. I think that like the knowledge that architects have today is significant. I mean, if you could get the average architect of today or an average architect 100 years ago and employ them to, you know, kind of design your house, which one are you going to pick? You're obviously going to pick the one that's had access to the newer breakthroughs in kind of the
Are
field.
Not
you fucking
necessarily,
retarded?
because
Just
when
one
you
last point.
remove the
One last point.
fundamentals,
One last point.
Show me the
Is like
architect that can build me a
so.
cathedral like
Hang on.
Sagrada Familia. You can't.
Hang on. We could if we wanted to, but that's just a kind of it's a waste of resources in today. Like we build more efficiently. Like we build with less resources,
You're
less
such a
time. It's
soulless
not
we're
that
piece
we
of
not
couldn't.
shit.
arguing
It's not
against
that
You're
we
such a
couldn't do it.
technology,
soulless
You really
piece of
think?
dude.
shit, dude.
Nobody's arguing against
No, no.
technology,
Let me just
man.
finish this point.
What you got to realize,
Hang on.
look,
I want
people
to
can
address the
use
first point you made
technology
about
for
Christianity being the bedrock. Yeah, I mean, you can go back 10,000 years, 5,000 years, whatever it is, and you can look at the Celts, right? So they had the Bronze Age. They independently invented soap. They had the first paved roads in Europe. They were very equal society in terms of women rising to the highest status of druids. They had doubled their working army because women were also trained in battle. So they would have been like, well, why should we become Christians when the bedrock of our civilization, which has served us well, was this paganism? So it's kind of ridiculous to just say,
Yeah, it's almost like technology's advancement is not the same as a culture. And you just correlate advancement with stuff like the way things advanced here, like
no,
feminism and
I'm saying
whatever.
that our
Oh, they
natural
advanced to the
progress.
point that women weren't equal in society. That's not advanced, dude. That's retarded.
No,
That's the reason we can't have technology now. And that the biggest point here is technology gives really evil pieces of shit the ability to do really bad shit that the evil people from thousands of years ago would have killed to have that power. So you can
that
have, and you know what I found, man? I found that when people don't have a solid philosophy like Christianity, that has a bedrock at the bottom, at the core of it. What they do, they all will talk about highfalutin philosophy. They'll talk about epistemology and all that. But at the end of the day, they'll do what's good for them because they can. That's what they will always do. What's good for them because they can, at the expense of other people. And you have to have a solid reason, something that's will cause you to damage yourself for the good of others, to keep you from doing that if you're in that position. You can't have people who don't believe in a reason strong enough to do that in the positions of power. It doesn't matter. An atheist will 10 times out of 10, and they've proven it.
will
So
what? Will what?
Hold on.
they will use their positions of power to benefit themselves at the expense of other people 10 times
I
out of
mean, you
10.
see this with organized religion too. There's a reason that these priests have private jets. There's a reason that
Yeah,
like the
sometimes that
Catholic Church
happens. You're
has
right.
like $1
Sometimes
trillion
that
in
happens, but
assets.
sometimes it doesn't. 10 times out
Yeah,
of
and
10
some.
atheists do
I
that.
mean,
There's
you're
some
just pulling
bad Christians.
statistics
That
out of
means
your ass at this
doesn't
point.
don't go to church. That means cut the whole thing out. Whatever, throw it in the trash. Let's all be a piece of shit and have no aim
I
whatsoever.
think
That's
what
not
you're
better.
looking at,
That's what Nietzsche
you're
said.
looking at the kind of progression of civilization, and you're doing a causative kind of claim that religion is what caused that. What I'm saying is that there was a natural progression. We did that prior to religion. We went from the Stone Age to the Bronze
No,
Age.
what you're
So
doing is
Let
do you
me
that in
think?
finish.
reverse. You're doing
Let
that
me
in
finish a
reverse.
point.
No, you're
This is
looking
the
at the way
natural.
things are
This
now,
is
and you're
hang
saying it's
on, hang
because
on.
women are
This is the
equal.
natural progression of society, and religion wasn't the causative effect of this. So we went from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age to the Iron Age. You know, villages turned into cities, cities turned into states, states turned into empires. This is just like the way that we progress naturally. It's not because of religion. Religion may have had some positive attributes. I'm not going to deny that. But to put that down to Christianity.
Yeah, no, I'm making the opposite of that argument. You're making the argument that civilization advanced because of the Enlightenment, because of feminism, because of shit like that, or that it's connected. It can't be removed. But or they can't be removed from each other. But yes, they can. You have civilizations advancing all the way back through ancient history with all sorts of different cultures, and they've advanced technologically. They've
Yeah,
advanced with
because it's not
engineering.
because of
The
Christianity,
important
right?
fields,
And you can't put that down to
Why did the Jews
Christianity.
and
take
that
over?
has happened throughout history under Christianity in the best way out of every empire,
That's
every
because
goal,
Christianity
every
came
group.
later than the pagan mythologies. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and it didn't advance better under those, did
Yes,
it?
it did. We went from fucking living in caves to
Wrong.
having Iron Age weapons
Well,
to fucking
What?
having city states to having democracy. This was all prior to Christianity. This is
Democracy is the pinnacle of advancement. See, this is what I mean by you're like a Reddit nerd.
Where
You're
are the-
just
I'm
a
saying
retard.
Exactly.
You,
Yeah.
you got to sit and think
they're
about the
stepping
world without
stones
Let's try
to
to have this
civilization.
conversation without ad hominems, please.
You can't start in the
Wow.
middle of history, Dr. Davinsky. That's what the speaker's talking about. You know, you want to talk about we came out of the Bronze Age and we got out of caves. Well, Catholicism gave you hospitals. It gave you scholasticism. It gave you modern scientific methods. All the things that led to what you enjoy today. Every comfort. The reason we're doing this, having this conversation over the internet. Okay, you can't deny that the modern world was built by the Catholic Church and the Christian worldview. That is how you got to this place. So yeah, whatever made people crawl out of caves and stop eating their food raw, like fine. But the modern world was built off the Christian worldview.
The modern
I say-
world
Again,
has
it
been a
just shows the
continuous
lack
kind
of
of
knowledge.
stepping stone, though. That's my point. Is you can't look whether we had Christianity or not, we would have still progressed the same way we've
That's not
progressed
true.
for the
The
past
true
10,000
advancement
years.
advanced with Jesus Christ because he learned.
Then
He
why
taught people.
why did civilizations progress in
taught
different
people.
ways? Why did it turn out that different groups progressed in totally radically different ways with different technologies, with different architectures, different fundamentals of engineering, all that,
Because
different
we're
ways of
white.
doing math?
Because we're white and smart.
Yeah, that's
It had
true.
nothing to
But
do
Gentlemen,
with
one at a time,
Christianity.
please.
We were
Let's keep it
white
civil.
before Christianity. I mean, you could say maybe the wheel was a bigger leap than every step of the way up from then till spaceships. But damn, I mean,
Where
you're
was the
just
only
revealing the
place that
lack of
independently
knowledge that
invented
you
the
have
wheel?
and what it takes to get all this
There's
behind
only
you.
Soldier,
one good
That's
thing
where was
about
the wheel
Christianity.
independently
Soldier, let's
That's
hear
the
you.
family, and they don't even protect that anymore. It's like they don't do what the Bible said to do, which is get married young and stay married. No sex before marriage. No, divorce. It's like nobody does what it said to do in the Bible anymore. So
Oh,
what
well,
are they
people are
protecting?
fucking up. I guess we should just aim at nothing and be pieces of shit then, huh?
No, but you can
That's better.
still
That's
have
going to
the
build a
family. It's
civilization up.
just you don't need to worship Jews, like have magical psychic Jews. That's the reason why the Jews are in power. The
Yeah,
Zionist
bro. We
Christians
should
in
start fucking
America, it's
worshiping
all
Odin, right? We
Zionist,
should worship
all
Odin
Zionist
and Thor.
Christians.
Spare us this whole Jewish savior thing. Like no one in here is falling for that. Okay, like it's a ridiculously low
It's
tier
just
argument.
stupid.
The point that's being made is not that like you have to understand that. Really, here's
Do
the
you
big
worship a
here.
Jew?
Hold on, can I finish speaking? I know you like to interrupt, but here's the thing. This comes to a bigger problem, and I think where the main difference to bring it full circle for the space, Wignats and Groypers. The Groypers don't fear a submission to authority because it's a Catholic movement. And when you find people like all the different Wignats that come up here and talk about, oh, Jew this, or oh, we gotta take down the government, they don't have any kind of idea of how to do it. They just know, and it's very feminine, by the way. They just know they've got to do something and fast because we're running out of time, and we can't just let the people in power. You should want to seek out power, not destroy power. And the Catholic Church promoted order, promoted hierarchy, patriarchy, power, and that is what built the modern world. And if you run from the idea of power being valuable and you just want to smash everything, you're no better than a child or a woman.
Well, maybe chanting rape, 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 and saying Hitler.
No,
rape,
stop.
Hitler,
Why
rape,
don't you actually
over and over
contend
again.
with the
Maybe that's
point?
a good
Hey,
idea,
why don't you contend with the point? Don't do that. Contend with
Also,
the point.
I just want to add to
That's
that
what Groypers
before I
do.
go. Like,
And it's
the
like,
thing,
Yeah, it's
Nick
real
has
easy
a
to be a
good point,
bastard or
but
whatever.
they
Beardson, do you have
find
anything to
wrong.
say about
let me
this?
just finish my phrase here. The true advancement came after Jesus because of the analogy of turning the other cheek and forgiveness. All the other civilizations before that were destructive. Catholicism and Christianity came and brought a moral code that permeated people to start building, and civilization using millions of people coming together, not being destructive. And also, yeah, this Jewish guy here, he's never gonna agree with us.
Yeah, well,
This is so
It's not.
retarded. You really think that?
I wanted to ask.
We
This is to David's point. What about like China? What about Confucianism? What about Taoism? That's not Christian, but it did kind of inspire civilization. Now it's not Western civilization, but it did inspire civilization.
That's
Does that mean
Eastern
it's correct?
civilization, right?
Yeah.
That inspired. Yeah. All I'm gonna
Yeah,
say is
how
half a
advanced
master
is
this
race.
whole
I have
idea
both.
that before the 10 Commandments, people were just going around knocking their wives, husbands over the head with a bomby knocker and raping and stealing. Look,
I
mean, they
we've
were.
always
you're
had
not
somewhat of
understanding
a
the point
social
at all.
cohesion.
You're
Like that's been a
fundamentally not
necessity for
understanding the point.
every civilization. And Christianity, it's kind of it's really weird to think that Christians say this all the time is that before that we were kind of like a pre-moral people, and it's just not true. You can look at like the harmony that the Celts lived. The social, they didn't have the social stratification, but
Dude, there's no that you're doing like the noble Indians thing. You're fundamentally misunderstanding the point as well. Because I wasn't making the commonly made point that that civilization wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Christianity. Civilization existed at the start of Christianity. Like obviously, it's existed all over the fucking world
Oh yeah,
in
and
different
obviously
ways.
Jews can walk on water
Civilization
and predict the
advancement
future, and
does not
obviously you have to
equate to
worship the
feminism
chosen
and
ones because that's
democracy.
your religion.
Well, hang on, real quick. I wanna interject here
I'm
real
telling.
quick with two things. One, we got $10 from Hawk Tua. Thank you for that. No message. I just want to say thank you, and of course support the space.
Spit on that thing.
Yeah, spit on that. Spit on that power chat at powerchat.live/Beardson or Cash App with the $ Beardson if you want to support these spaces. Also, we've got a ghost here, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for killing me and Dalton, apparently.
I didn't kill you. The fire killed you.
Yeah. I'm alive.
Can we
all
get
right.
some Wignats here to argue with?
I'm trying.
Aren't they
Yeah,
all Wignats in here?
yeah. I mean, you're more than welcome to come up. I'm just letting anybody up here. So
I'm up here.
yeah,
Who's the Wignats?
I'm the devil's advocate.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the devil.
Yeah, the point is, man, it's not about it's not like Christianity is the only way that there can be civilization. It's that democracy and feminism isn't the only way that you can have civilization. And as people get smarter and more rational, they lean towards that shit. Because that's
Feminism
not smarter
sucks.
or more rational. It's retarded.
Feminism was a Jewish plot to destroy us. It was a
Yeah,
eugenics
not
program.
Christianity. Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it's
many
like
ancient civilizations that were of prominence that had kind of feminist ideals. The ancient Persians, the Celts that I mentioned previously. So to act, I mean, it's like, what do you
And
want to
how
do?
are
The
they doing
Yeah,
now?
Hang on,
no,
hang on,
it
hang on.
happened.
Do you
It's a
want to
thing if
do the
people can do it.
Afghanistan model where women can't like congregate in numbers? They can't get education. We limit half our workforce. You like
Dude, what good has
20%,
ever come
20%,
from women all getting
20.
together without the men in
20% of
charge?
STEM fields right now in the USA is women. You just want to like take out all of that brain out of like our economy. What do you want?
To
Do you want to
that
to
have
get
that
brain,
brain?
married
dude,
and
Do you
then
want?
listen
have
to
Do you,
You're
hang
giving
on.
a
Do you
lot
want
of
to have?
brain.
Yeah,
Do you want to
I
have
want
a
to take that
$300 a
brain.
year
A lot of women
GDP?
giving brain into STEM
Yeah, I
fields.
want to take that brain out of STEM and into my bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Notice
Based.
that people
For
that
real.
don't follow this message that we're talking about with Catholicism, they don't contend with the point. They run from it. They go anywhere else. The point is almost irrefutable, and it's not a matter of whether or not another culture or another religion could have built the modern world. It's that Christianity did build the modern world. You cannot contend with that, which is why you run from it. And now,
No,
around
it was
starting,
useful
I'm
to a
sorry.
point.
Oh, I'm
Hang
sorry.
on real quick.
I'm sorry.
Hang on real quick. I just want to say she brain on my STEM till I work for us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Hawk Tua spit on that thing for hard power.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Continue.
And the thing is, we had order. We had we had it made in America until we had Jewish subversion, feminism, and immigration policies changed in the 1960s. I mean, up to that point, everything was chugging along fine, including the Catholic Church. Everything was it was fine. But the point
But
I'm
do you know
trying to
who
make,
came up with the word racism?
David, you need to contend with this point. The point about Catholicism actually being the thing that built the modern world, not that something else could have, not that feminism good. Contend with the actual point. Stop running from it.
Yeah, so I mean, I just fundamentally disagree with that. There were attributes of Catholicism that obviously helped the advancement of Western civilization, but it's not just a universal. I wouldn't make
You
a universal
disagreeing
claim
with it
that.
is not an argument. You disagreeing with it is not an argument. The point of it being true does not matter of whether or not you
Yeah,
agree with it.
I'm
How many
disputing that it's
scientists are
true.
Christian now? Like, how many scientists are actually Christian now? It's probably 90% of them aren't. And so all
Yeah.
these, people you're talking about who are advancing civilization, they're mostly not ever fundamentalist Christians who believe Jews walked on water and turned water into wine, and God told them to stone people to death for picking up sticks on a Saturday, and that they should.
That's
How
just
many
another dodge.
scientists are actually doing anything valuable towards advancing society now, though?
Exactly. It's just another
And how many
dodge.
of those
It's just
scientists
another
find out
dodge.
that the past experiments were all kind of
Most fucking
snoozy and
scientists
false?
nowadays are trying to like
Done with
justify
them.
pedophilia. Like that's like modern day
Exactly.
fucking science. You can't talk about modern day scientists not being
You chuds are
Christians
cooked.
as like as an example of how
We've had
Christianity isn't.
we've had medical technological breakthroughs. I mean, what are you talking about? Look at the advancement we've had just with the smartphone since 2009.
Have you seen Grok?
the-
Have you seen what Grok can make?
You guys are running from the thing again because guess what?
Grok
Like
AI
the
is
modern
impressive.
modern
Yeah, make it-
science
Stable
is not
diffusion.
impressive. It's corporatized. Modern science, just like modern politics, just like modern race relations, it's all corporatized. That's why
I
it
think
Yeah.
sucks.
the biggest issue is like I think that the Jews is kind of just a look. They've had some disproportional influence, but really what it is global capitalism, and we can see that the
Yeah.
way that
Just global
we can see
capitalism.
the way that
I
America
agree.
sold out. So if you look at Michigan, for instance, the Motor City, right? A father could support a double-story home on a nice quarter-acre block with trimmings and a nice car, and he could do that from a factory working in Detroit. And then they decided
Thanks to
actually
Henry Ford, who hated
we
Jews.
we can make these cars cheaper if we sell manufacture them in China. And so the capitalists sold out the American working class and they put the factories in China. It's the same way with the immigration right now at the southern border. This benefits capital interests because they can undercut local workers, right? These people are kind of tethered to them, and it's the same with the H-1B. So a lot of these immigration concerns that we have is not just the Jews; it's capitalism, and we've got to kind of acknowledge that fact.
And capitalism is built off of materialism, which is something that goes against the idea of Christianity, which is why, coming full circle, the Groyper movement and the people wanting it to be a Catholic movement is not some like bad idea. It's actually more effective than going with race. You need to access power. Again, another hierarchical, patriarchal Catholic idea. I mean, you guys are running from this into these little tiny corners because you can't contend with the fact that materialism and atheism, Bolshevism, feminism, these things are all anti-Catholic.
Listen, what is religion got to do with any of this? Okay, Jew this, Jew that, Catholic this, Catholic that. Come on, let's keep it focused.
Why do you think the
I mean,
Jews said a rich man has as much chance of entering heaven as a camel going through the eye of a needle? Why do you think the Jews who wrote the Bible said, give all your money away, you won't need it in heaven? Because the Jews who wanted to take all the money in the world said,
yeah, they wanted all the money
and make them think that money isn't important. So they lost their empire.
Yep.
They
When I tell people not to smoke weed,
when money wasn't important, and then they took all the money. They
True.
They took all the gold and printed paper money, and they stole half the money in the world just by that because they created twice the wealth, the paper and the money, and they took all
Don't smoke
the gold.
weed. It's so gay. It's so bad for you.
No one's anti-money. I mean, Nick says that they need millionaires, which is why you guys should all go to powerchat.live/Beardson and give him some money because he's running this space.
That's true.
Well, where is
we will
the
win when
world?
Beardson's a millionaire. We will win when Jimbo's a millionaire.
That is true.
I mean, you have to go back hundreds of years to find a successful kind of Catholic country. Right now, you can look at majority Catholic nations; they're complete shitholes, right? So, Anglospheric, secularized nations are clearly superior to whatever the fuck's happened in Latin America.
Well, but I mean, you look at America, though. I mean, America is clearly a very Christian country now, and actually, Catholics are on track to become a majority in this country. So,
you ever been to Ogden, Utah?
Are there any countries that are doing well right now?
Yeah, if you see America and Europe, you go through, you see Catholic churches, you see churches everywhere. And this is why it's such a beautiful nation. And if you want to keep attacking Christianity, Dr. Chu, I got a good suggestion for you. You should probably go
Aren't
back
your
to
people
Israel.
like doing
And
firework
you can
attacks
be an atheist there.
on the Catholic
you
Church?
can be an atheist there. There's no problem.
Well, wouldn't you say Poland is doing pretty well, Dr. David? Isn't Poland kind of becoming a superpower in Europe?
Well, Poland has been off the fuck. Poland's basically the welfare state. Germany's
It
giving
is a
them so
Catholic
much
country,
money.
though.
Wait,
in
you're Polish?
reparations.
Polski?
No, I'm not Polish.
Oh, Motherfucker.
No,
It
he's
is.
Jewish.
It is a
Yeah, he's Jewish, eh?
same
That's
thing.
sad.
Basically, it is actually a Catholic country and it's doing well. It's actually a kind of an
Yeah,
economic
Poland. I can
powerhouse.
speak for this because I'm actually 3/4 Polish. Poland is doing very well right now.
Fuck you.
What, Yakshamash is hello, how are you?
That's not how you say it, dude.
Well, it's close enough. Tomato, tomato.
But that's a Catholic country.
All right, well, let's bring up the real issue here. Love all the Groypers in here. I was wondering when we're going to have the next White Power Radio episode 2.
That's what this is actually.
Yeah, this is part 2.
Yeah, I should have renamed the space that, but I didn't. Sorry.
You
We're
should get
Power
HT
Rangers.
up here. He'll double the numbers. I've had HT in a space before. He does bring in a lot of people.
I don't care.
Because HT's a Fed.
I don't really care. I mean, also he's in a space right now, and we have more viewers than him, so I don't really care.
We're White Power Rangers here, dude. We don't need him.
Wignat.
You literally.
It's like you're both sort of very fringe movements because HT calls everyone a nigger, nigger, white power, and you sort of like go around saying you want to rape young girls and shit as a joke, and it's like you're very fringe movements. It's like you're never going to gain political power that way.
It's like the X-Men.
This is what I said earlier. Is like
the modern version of the
stones at
X-Men.
each other. They're throwing stones from glass houses at each other. It's like, oh, you're so bad optically. By the way, your body, my choice. Like, let's lower the age of consent. And then HT is like, oh, well, he's abusing little black kids in the street. It's like, you both are as bad as each other optically.
Not really.
Yeah, but you guys
Not
missed
really.
the point. It's decentralized. You won't know Nick's effect until people are in positions of power. That's the point.
You can say the
He's
same
spreading
thing for HT, though.
hold on. The HT stuff, the Wignat stuff is like baby's first red pill. Oh, race. It's like so low level. Nick is he's telling people stuff at a higher level and getting people to change their lives.
Nick is intelligent.
Oh, come on, bro.
My Muslim
That's
Christian
dead.
You should
Pakistani
really
grooming
drop
gangs.
Dr. Jew because he's gonna keep.
Ahmed Suleiman is going to help.
Can we get the next Wignat, please?
We need to align with the fucking Ahmed Suleiman, the Pakistani grooming gang member, because the Christian Muslim alliance is like, that's a realistic kind of thing to happen.
No, but you're just obfuscating.
No, we should align with the
You're
Australian who
obfuscating.
disarmed
We don't have
himself.
Wignats here. We can't have you.
Well, there's 2.4 million guns somewhere in the Australian population. I don't know where they are, but they're out there.
Mate. They're in the bush, mate.
What's your ethnicity, follower?
Follower? I'm just about all white. Like I was told I was like 132nd Tasmanian Aboriginal. I don't really see it, but I'm,
He's a fucking
maybe I
sick
am.
cunt, mate.
Are you like mostly Anglo-Celt or are you like ethnic?
Yeah,
This guy's
like
a
Irish,
Starfieldian.
German, English.
Do you know
Irish,
Randbot?
German,
Yeah,
English.
I mean, I lived
Hey,
in Tasmania too.
Beardson, are you here, Beardson?
What we need
He's
to
a
do is
fucking
actually.
sick cunt, mate.
Yeah, I'm here.
Tasmania is the best country. We need to turn that into a white
Beardson,
ethno
kick
state.
Dr. Davinsky. This guy's so
Do you know
cool.
the Wignat named Randbot, Mr. Australian?
Fucking sick cunt, mate.
I don't
I know
Rambo.
Rambo. Rambo's a fucking sick
Unfortunate.
cunt, mate.
Yeah, well, I just like follow a lot of people. Like, I listen to Nick. I listen to HT sometimes. I
met him at the
listen to
Plinko.
Max Egan and Dollar
Right
Vigilante,
vote on that one.
Black
Met him at
Pilled,
the Plinko.
just lots of people.
I used to like JF Garrity until
Last
he like
American
allegedly murdered
Vigilante.
his
Like, I
wife.
mostly listen to American people because I know the power is basically coming from America, but it's basically coming from Israel. And the reason it's coming from Israel is there's all these Zionist Christians in power. So the Christianity is one of the main problems that leads to the Jews having all this power, and they want to kill us. Like, they've said quite openly they want to wipe out all memory of Amalek, which is us, because of what the Romans did 2,000 years ago. They had the idea of wiping us out.
Bro, you sound
before
like
they
Adam
even
Green.
came up with Christianity.
Adam Green is based.
Sick cunt,
Yeah,
mate.
Adam Green
Heil
knows what's
Odin.
going
He's
on.
Jewish, like you. This is crazy.
We all just say Heil
Jewish.
No,
Odin.
he's not Jewish, mate. He's just calling out the main Jewish subversion, which is Christianity and Islam.
We can get
Do you-
Odin
do
in
you
here.
think- do you think
Pretty
the
Let
bad.
someone
average-
let him possess them.
No,
That's pretty
Christianity
blasphemous,
and the war of
honestly.
Gog and Magog.
Do you think that the average American Christian, wants this? Do you think that that represents the average American Christian viewpoint? Like, is that actually what you believe?
No, it's just the extreme Zionist fundamentalists, and they're the ones who get put in power because AIPAC funds all their campaigns.
Yeah, but
And
how
so
how does
the
how
only
does
people who
that?
ever get into power are these extreme Zionist fundamentalist Christians.
Okay, sure, but how does that like devalue Christianity as a whole?
Well, it's not true from my perspective. I didn't believe it at 5 years old. Nobody in Australia is a Christian. Like maybe 10% of the
I lost my
population,
faith at
really.
3. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's not
most
really that
Australians are like
popular
a
anywhere
culturally.
else.
Yeah, I mean most look, most of like from a cultural sense, like you like Christmas, Easter, but I guarantee most of the people in this space aren't going to church every Sunday.
Bro,
Like it's
I
just an
literally
archaic.
Actually,
Speak for yourself.
Bro, I was at church
Go to
yesterday.
the Church
What?
of Abraxas.
Yeah, I literally went to church last night.
I'm a real Polish Roman Catholic, nigga.
I go to church as chicken.
Yep.
I'm kind of
I don't only
Buddhist
go
for
to church, I
religion.
operate in my church because that's where we can also affect community is within the church. I've said this in another space with Groypers. You can infiltrate the bureaucracy. You can also infiltrate your community through the Catholic Church. It's wide open. Everything in a Catholic church is wide
Yep.
open for you to get
Yep.
in and influence the
I
youth.
let Odin possess my body weekly.
But what did the Pope
I
say
run around
about
in the
Jews?
woods with
Did the
Odin
Pope
possessing me,
worship
hitting trees.
Jews?
Well, I mean, it's just like a crazy thing to say that, like, well, I don't think anybody goes to church. Like, I don't, where, like, based off of what exactly?
Well,
Well,
nobody goes to church
religiosity.
in Australia,
Well,
Yeah, in
yeah,
but there's
Australia,
like
if you go
2%
to
of
if you
the
go
That's
to
why
any
Australia's
population
if
kind
you
of
go to
irrelevant,
any
dude.
yeah. You
church,
guys don't.
there's
You guys
like
don't go to church in Australia because you're like a godless prison people.
No, like there's
There's
this
only like
wrong
25 million
church, right? They're
Australians. Who fucking
2% of the
cares?
community, but they're 20% of the politicians, and
Too
they're like
far.
tongue-talking lunatics who like babble blah 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 blah. Hey, Chivasa, Masa Frasa, give me my matzah. You know,
what
it's
the
like they're
fuck are you
crazy. They're
What were
saying?
you
talking
talking?
tongues. They're
You have rappers
lunatics,
running your
and they
country?
do love it.
This is why you don't invite Australians to the space.
so 20% according to Statista, 20% of
Yeah.
Americans reported attending church or synagogue every
And
week,
18%
while
of them are Mormon.
31% said they'd never attend a religious service. So only 20%, 1 in 5 people attend a church on a weekly basis.
Like,
Is that 1 in 5 of all Americans, not accounting for those that are actually considering themselves Christian?
Or white.
It could be 1 in 5 Catholics in America, and it still dwarfs the entire population of Australia. You guys could go change Australia, and America will just take you guys over if we want to.
Based.
Truth news.
Same thing we're going to do with Canada.
Based.
yeah. Also, it's like, I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, obviously, I believe people should go to church, but just from
Okay.
demographics, it's like Christians still out like dwarf population wise atheists or agnostic.
But it shouldn't be
But
what
did
you
you know
focus on.
Jesus
Maybe
was
use it
Jewish?
as some.
Did you know? Did you know that Jesus was
Like,
Jewish?
but I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah,
bring that up.
Jesus
I
was
bring
a
That's
that
why I
up
Jew.
call him
as I
Yeshua.
bring that as like as a point though, because like even if like they're
Kind of
like
a
a
problem.
practicing Christian, like for you to still sit there and say that like they would insult their faith or to try to get them to change their faith, like that's just never going to happen. You know, what I mean, even if they're not like super
Well,
practicing.
it doesn't need to happen. But you don't need to talk about it all the time, and you can focus on the things that matter, like this Jewish subversion, like the fact that all the politicians are funded by Jews. Most of them not even in the
Right,
country.
but I mean,
It's like
but the
Israel
problem is
controls
like you
America.
guys brought it up though, and this is what I think.
Yeah, how do I get that money?
I think you guys do this a lot. Like
All right,
I
Well,
wasn't
you were
talking about.
talking about it.
I wasn't talking about it at all, and it wasn't until I think Davinsky brought up Christianity that we got on the topic to begin with. So it's
Why does it
Well,
always
you can
devolve to
still
like
be
a
Christians.
Bible fight?
It's
It's
not
crazy,
really a
dude. This
rallying
Wignat.
point.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think you need to focus on being white and keeping the immigrants from becoming a majority. Like we're about to go minority white in every single white country, and we need to just focus on stopping the immigration and stopping becoming a minority because London is
Poland is
36%
doing
white.
fine.
And
And
once
how
you
will you
become
get that done?
36%
That was the
white,
question. But that was the question, follower. We were asking before Davinsky came in and started making it about Christianity, right? Which we would
I
defend.
already
We
told you.
ask, how do you get
I
there?
told you.
Hold on, Davinsky, hold on. How do people get into power and stop immigration? Okay, how do you get that movement into a place where not only they can access the levers of power, but actually wield that power effectively?
well, maybe you start by making money, like make as much money as the Jews, instead of saying give all your money away to the
PowerChat.live/power.
poor.
That's true.
Beardson,
Yeah,
Beardson.
support this space, or else I'm gonna end it soon. If I don't get it $50
How do Jewish people make money?
soon, I'm ending the space. So if you like the
Oh, they sold drugs. They sold sex. They, you know,
Through
did the
usury,
banking.
that's how they make money. How do you guys not know
Yeah,
this?
banking. Well, you know, they make porn. They, you know, they took over
They're
all the
funding it off of
businesses. They
Pornhub.
put their money together, bought
So the
real
path forward is
estate.
for white people to shoot porn with each other.
Yeah, we need to make white porn.
Yo,
Well,
based?
consider maybe that's one of the reasons why you're not rich and not in control
Yeah,
of the world is
the
because
white
you
people
didn't
should just
take
start
them.
making their own porn.
Honestly, though,
Yeah,
that would solve the birth rates too.
Now
Well-
I'm thinking about it.
truth nuke.
I'm liking this.
Do you remember when BAP was talking about doing that? He's like, we need like right wing porn studios.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was on
Those
something.
bap
That guy's
niggers.
Jewish too.
Yeah.
Remember when
What
Kanye
talent
talked
is
about
it?
it, and it was literally the only L he's ever taken in his entire career?
Well, I don't know about that.
That was
I mean,
W.
seriously, it's not a bad idea. It's the fastest way to make money.
Well,
It's
my
like,
idea
you know,
is to do
they're
it.
all
I want to do an.
incels.
Let's open an
I want to.
OnlyFans.
I want to do an
How about an
OnlyFans called the.
OnlyFans for white people, only whites?
I'm doing an OnlyFans called the
Finally.
Colon.
Do you
I'm
think
doing an OnlyFans called the Colonizer, where I go around the world and do race play to like women in different countries in the
Ooh, that'd be
ethnic.
good.
Impregnate
What the
all
fuck
That's
are you
good.
talking
different
about?
races.
That's good.
Video it.
I like
That's
this. Let's-
colonialism, baby.
We're about to change this to Wignat versus
troll.
Gooner round 2 over here.
Based.
It's not a troll though. That's a serious idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
honestly,
is
we
a
just travel
serious
around.
idea. No,
That's
that's how they made
that's
the
the quarter
money.
Jewish talking.
Fund
That's how
the
we get
new
full
Nazi
power, guys.
movement with porn.
This is how we get full power.
Yeah.
I'll show you full
How
power.
about marriage
On my
porn?
only
Like, get
whites.
people married and then, you know, film them on their wedding night.
What if Jared Taylor bought OnlyFans and he ran it, and only white people were allowed to upload porn, and then we could have white people like making a ton of money?
Yeah, we're gonna put white incels in porn videos.
I mean, if they're gonna make porn, might as well be funded through white people, right? Not through the
Yeah.
Jews.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah.
We're onto something here.
And then there's Hollywood in the music industry, and they do a lot of propaganda through that. So you want to take over everything any way you can, basically.
Beardson could be like the next Harvey Weinstein.
Well, I was thinking something like the next little pump, but
No, he could be the next Harvey Weinstein, or it could be one of the Wachowski sisters.
Yeah, should we
Should we have more white
wiggers?
torture
The one that
porn?
turned trans, or the one
Actually,
that's still a woman?
I actually have a good idea for a new Matrix movie. I think.
No, it's you making gay porn.
Well, it was
To
gonna
escape the Matrix.
It was gonna be about like this guy, and he joins like a radical, like right wing dissident group, right? And he gets like, and then the guy, it's like the Morpheus character. He he takes him aside and he's like, all right, do you want to watch?
Can someone write this down?
Do you want to watch cuck porn or do you want to watch incest porn? And he has to pick between one of the two. That's the pill.
Incest porn.
Yeah, that's the pills that he has to take.
Always.
Then he says, "No, Neo. When you're ready to, you won't have to choose."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, both at the same time.
Choice is an illusion.
Bottom text.
All this is funny, but you could
Very cool.
take over with the right wing. You could take over the media, and when you have a real right wing movement that takes over the media, things change quickly.
conservatives
Culture
can't
changes
do art.
quickly, which is another great point made by Nick Fuentes. Made by
Conservative
the
porn.
Groypers. They don't try to
always
destroy
talking about
power;
that.
they want to take power.
Nick's
That's the
always
thing you guys
talking
keep
about.
missing.
Nick's always talking about us making right wing porn to fund America first.
But it'll be gay porn, right?
Yeah, but it's gay porn because we're gay
But
Groypers.
it's also, but it's right wing, so it's only white people.
Yeah,
Is it,
so
is it
it's,
really a problem?
it's white gay porn.
Yeah, at least it's not Jewish, faggot.
Yeah,
My
well,
bad.
that's it.
I feel like we're getting
That's the way
good
you
ideas here.
look at it. You do what they did, but better and in your own way.
Champion, tell them about the water on the moon.
Well, it's funny because I was just sitting on the toilet and I remembered I cut my pubes and I could see that my dick is huge.
You guys shave?
Yep. Been there. Been there.
You guys shave down there?
It was the pubes was reaching my fucking foreskin, so like it was creating a problem.
Yeah,
Why is that a
stinky.
problem?
Yeah, why is that
It
a
would just
problem?
get caught. Like, I'd pull it back to piss and
It's
then
not good for porn.
by the time I pull it back
Yeah, it's
to
not
like
aesthetic.
close
Not
the
camera
door pretty
friendly. He's
much,
not ready for the camera.
the pubes caught in my shit and it's really
Yeah, you got
uncomfortable.
to be clean shaven.
Just BWC problems.
Bro, it's just not,
No, just don't shave
You gotta
down
be
there. Dude. It's all good.
bushmaxing.
just not
Be
camera
free.
ready. Sorry.
Jimbo's bushmaxing.
In the bush.
I am the bush.
All right, I'm gonna end this because I'm gonna go eat and I'm bored.
He has to go film gay porn.
Yeah, I'm filming.
make his rent money.
Bottoms Up 5.
Cool, Beardson. Very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, you could make some money from that.
Yeah.
Dr. David would pay for your only whites.
I think this space was productive. We learned something, I think.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
good space, Beardson.
Thanks.
Emulate Jews.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in White Power Radio episode 2. It's been really a blast. We'll probably
Tune back in next time.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Same white time, same white place.
It's all white love.
White power.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.